Hello, gentilhomme Usher. How are you doing today? Ouh, surintendant Cheval Marin. Bonjour. Ah oui, oui, mademoiselle Crabaletta. Ah, mais bien sûr. Évidemment. Let's talk about Chevreuse. This character at C0 is not very good. Alright? Effectively, you get this. Right? As long as you're triggering overload reactions, you basically get permanent VV for both Pyro and Electro. However, she doesn't have insane personal damage. If you build her for personal damage, her attack buff goes down. I'm not entirely sure which one is going to end up being slightly better, but overall, she doesn't bring as much to the table as the typical animal unit does, right? So, this just isn't enough to justify it. It's fine if you want to play her in teams where you do fulfill this condition of only Pyro and Electro characters. Thought she was Pyro. She is Pyro, but you can't play her with an animal unit. So she will replace an animal unit in your team. It's easier to get good uptime on this, but I don't think there's too many teams where it's worth going for this. Overload in general is not very good, and the teams that can make use of Overload tend to have Hydro units, which doesn't work with her, right? You are playing Overload and you can't run a grouper when you're fulfilling this condition, which is not good. It can work, but I think it will be a downgrade to the animal units in basically every team. That's at C0 though. C1, kinda whatever. C2, kinda whatever. C3, kinda whatever. C4, kinda whatever. C5, kinda whatever. C6, really, really, really good. C4 is huge for her personal damage, yeah, but her personal damage is not that great to begin with. So, at C6, she provides basically a 60% Pyro and Electro damage buff to your active party member. That's a big buff. That's a Farina buff, you know? Like Farina, if you average 250 fanfare stacks, which is generally the assumption that I use, is at like what, 62%? 62.5%? So it's about as big of a buff as Farina. Now, if you're playing her in teams that do not fulfill this condition, is she the best option? Probably not. I think it's fine. It's just a pretty big buff, but she doesn't really have personal damage. It's okay. But it makes it so that when you are fulfilling this condition and you are putting her on your team, instead of getting a slight downgrade to the animal unit, you can get a situational upgrade. I still don't think it's better than the animal teams. I do have to look in. I do have to do some more calcs on her and look into her a bit more. Is she comparable to Kazuha and Raiden Hyper teams? I don't know. Kazuha does so much personal damage in those teams, you know? And not having the grouping is painful. I can see it being a potential upgrade at C6. Without C6, I don't know. Yeah, like, if everything goes right, you'll have a decent amount of personal damage with this. C1 is pretty nice, almost 5. I don't know. Because it only does it to one character. So you have to make sure that you time it so that the right character triggers this. And if you don't, then it effectively doesn't do anything. Because you can't build your characters with enough ER including this if there's a chance you don't get it, because then you're not gonna have enough ER. I thought it was for all in the party. I mean, that's not what it says. Maybe it is. Maybe it's mistranslated. I think Chevreuse is fine without cons. I don't think so. I think she's pretty bad without cons. Because, like, I don't know. Is she an upgrade in Lyney teams? I don't really see it. At C6 maybe, yeah, I guess. Anyways. The main thing I'm worried about is, like, if you want to have her do a lot of damage with her C4, you need to spend field time on her, right? And if you're spending field time on her, you're losing field time on your other damage dealers. Maybe you could use her in something like Bennett, Shengling, Fischl, Chevreuse, where you don't have a dedicated on-fielder. First kill happens really fast, it's not a problem. It's not a problem if you have to do it once, but 3 times really fast is less really fast. I don't know. Also, when there's cooldown resetting things for skills in a kit, they tend to give particle generation ICD. So I do not expect her to actually generate more energy with C4. I would expect this to only generate the energy once. She does have particle ICD, well, rip bozo. So she effectively generates 4 particles per rotation. I don't know, man. Yeah, and like, you don't get... You have to hold, right? Yeah, you have to hold. Otherwise you get the fucking press damage, you can't get the overcharge ball. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you have to hold, make sure you trigger overload, hold again, make sure you trigger overload, and hold again. If you actually want to do the full damage with it. That's like, at the very least, assuming things are fucking insanely fast animations, 2 seconds of field time. Most realistically, I would expect it like 3 to 4 seconds of field time for you to actually get this. I have to look at some footage of it in action to be sure, but that makes you lose a good amount of Bennett uptime if you're using Bennett. I don't know though. Yeah, like this isn't a problem if you're playing a team that can't afford the field time like a Shangling team. I think it has a chance to be interesting, but I'm really not too excited about her performance at C0. And she's, what, she's gonna be on Navia's banner? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not too excited. We'll see, but yeah. Do I like her visual design? What, Chevreuse? I don't feel very strongly about it. I don't like her character, though. I can tell you that already. Fear-mongering cop. Get the fuck out of here. Like, this is more than just, like, yeah, Sino's a cop. Like, her personality is that of a fucking US cop. Unironically. Like, we've had her quote with her drip marketing. She sounds like a US cop. Yeah, exactly the type of person to say Blue Lives Matter.